Hello guys, welcome. This is Deepika from mytutorialrack.com, and in this tutorial we are going to discuss another interview question, and the question is, what is constructor overloading? Okay, so what is the meaning of constructor overloading? And constructor overloading is the process of creating multiple constructors in a given class consisting of the same name with a difference in the constructor parameters. So basically, within a particular class, if you have defined multiple constructors basically have the same name as the class name, but you have multiple parameters given in each of those constructors. So let's take an example here. So here there is a class called hospital, and in this class I have defined three constructors. This is number one constructor, this is number two constructor, and this is number three constructor. If you don't know what constructor is nothing but it has the same name as the class name and it doesn't have any return parameters. Okay, it is similar to a method but does not return anything. As you can see here, there is no return type defined. All it is defined is public, and then the name of the class is hospital, and then these are the two parameters this constructor is taking of the type integer. Similarly, this particular constructor only takes one parameter, and which is of the type integer, and this third also takes one parameter which is of the type double. So this is an example of constructor overloading. Now, depending upon how you are invoking in your main method, the corresponding constructor will be invoked. Depending upon the number of parameters and their corresponding types, distinguishing of the different types of constructor is done by the compiler. Okay. Now, if we go back here, let's go ahead and go to the next slide. So here you can see I have defined a hospital as the class, and these are my three constructor which has the same name, as you can see here, which is matches the class name, and also each of them have different list of parameters or different type of parameters. Okay, so that is what is called as constructor overloading. Now, if you want to take an example, I have done an example here for you in my Eclipse. So we will go here, and you can see here I have defined a class called hospital example, and in this class I have defined three instance variables. One is for doctors, one is for nurses, and salaries. Okay, so doctors is basically number of doctors working in the hospital, number of nurses working in the hospital, and salaries for them. And I have defined three constructor here. Hospital example, this is the name of my class, so the constructor also will have the same name as the class name and does not return anything. There is no return type defined, and that is what separates a constructor from a method, because method has a return type always, whereas a constructor does not have a return type, and also the constructor name is equals to the class name. And here I have passed in two parameters, one of both of them of the type integer, and whatever I'm passing, I'm setting it up in doctors and nurses, and then salaries, I'm defaulting it to 10,000 in this case. Similarly, this is my second constructor which takes in one parameter of the type integer, and the rest of them I am defaulting here. Nurses, I'm defaulting it to 100, and salaries, I'm defaulting it to 5,000. Similarly, in my third constructor here, I have defined it takes in one parameter of the type double. So the number of parameters here are same, but this is of the type integer and this is of the type double. So this is also called as constructor overloading. It does not matter if there are number of parameters are different or the type of parameters are different. Okay, that is both comes under constructor overloading. So here salaries, whatever is passing, I'm putting into the salaries, and doctors, I'm defaulting it to 10 and nurses to 25, and I've created a display hospital info which just prints the information about the number of doctors, number of nurses, and the salaries given. So now coming back to my main method here, I am creating an object of this class hospital example, and as you can see here, different constructors will be called 5, 7 of the type integer. So here this first constructor should get called. So what should it print? It should print the number of doctors is 5 and number of nurses is 7, right? So it should print 5 and 7, and then here it should say 10,000 as the salary. Okay, so now here the salary in this case is going to be 10,000. This is what should the output should be. And similarly, hospital example 2, this one, the second constructor should get called, which is this one, and here it should print 100 and 5,000. So the number of nurses are going to be 100 and the salaries given should be 5,000 here, and this one, and then what should be the doctor's number? 10 should be the doctor's number. Similarly, in the last, this is a double, so I'm expecting the third constructor to get called here. So salaries are going to be given and the rest is 10 and 25. Okay, so the salaries is going to be 25,000. So then 10, 25, and then here it will be 25,000 is going to be the salary. Okay, so let's say if our expectation matches with the output of the program. So I'm going to do Java run as Java application here. So you can see if I scroll down, number of doctors 5, number of nurses 7, and the salaries given is 10,000. Okay, basically our first constructor got called. The second one is the second constructor got called, which is number of doctors is 10, number of nurses is 100, and the salaries given is 5,000. And in this case, the third constructor gets called, where number of doctors is 10, nurses is 25, and the salaries is 25,000. So constructor overloading is when you define multiple constructors within the class which has a different list of parameters or different types of parameter is called as constructor overloading. I hope you are crystal clear on what constructor overloading is, and I'm going to see you in the next tutorial with another interview questions. So stay tuned. Thank you so much.